Getting dialed in. A little bit of tackle prep. Kind of going through everything right now. Seeing what I need. That whole box is stuffed, headed to Florida. Going there at the beginning of the season next year. Here in North Georgia. I really don't need a whole lot of the Florida stuff up here. So packing it away in a box so that way whenever I go to pre-practice, I can just grab that box and go. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Like I just said, I'm going through tackle, doing some inventory stuff, kind of seeing what I need to order on Tackle Warehouse, and getting ready to fish next year. Going to kind of go through what I'm fishing in 2026 and kind of how I'm going to approach the season, what I'm going to do differently from last year and previous years. And without further ado, let's get this video rolling. The 2025 was a really weird year for me because I had to drop out of the tournaments mid-season. I had some stuff that blindsided me unexpectedly, and I was not able to complete the remainder of the events. I had to drop out after the Tom Bigby event, and it really wasn't really all that great. Honestly, like it's been a huge bummer for me. But with that being said, we have so much great stuff going on, working with some amazing sponsors this year and next year. Depps, IMA, Optimum came on board this year hard, and we got to do some really cool stuff together, including collaborate with a new color, Chattahoochee Chrome. If you guys haven't seen that, you need to. A bunch of other sponsors that have been with me for some time now: Shimano, G Loomis, Power Pro, Cornerstone Drywall, Ryugi Japan, Big Bite Baits, Buckeye Lures. The list goes on and on of all these amazing companies that have backed me. And guys, if you want to support me, please support them. But with that being said, let's talk about 2026. So there's so many new trails popping up, and there's people leaving certain tours, going to certain tours. And I thought this would be a good time to kind of explain my thought process on why I'm choosing what to fish next year. So for the past, I'm 26 now. Probably for the past 20 years, my goal is to fish as a pro, whether that be MLF, FLW, Bassmaster. But really, the end goal was the Elite Series. Like kind of what I always thought about fishing was the Bassmaster Elite Series, and that is still my end goal. That just seems, for me, that's where I want to end up, is Bassmaster Elite Series. And there's two ways to qualify for the Bass Elites. One is through the Bass Nations, and one is through the Bassmaster Opens. So I'm going to be fishing definitely the Opens, Division I of the Opens, as well as mixing in a few regular Bass Nations. Bass Nations are a really cool deal if you don't know anything about them. There's going to be 4 qualifying events, regional events. There's a South, Mid-South, whatever. I forgot what the actual regions are called, but basically they go to Cherokee Lake, they go to Toledo Bend, they go to the Upper Mississippi River La Crosse, and they go to Lake Champlain. So that's a really cool schedule. Able to mix in some more tournaments without breaking the bank. They're $400 entry fee tournaments versus a Toyota, which is $1,700 to fish something extra that doesn't count towards anything. This is a less, it costs less, basically. It costs less, and it's a stepping stone to a goal that I'm trying to achieve. So I'm going to be fishing as many Bass Nations as possible. Basically, if you qualify through a regional event, you automatically go to the championship, and if you win that championship, you automatically make the Bassmaster Elite Series. If you top 3, I believe you make the Bassmaster Classic. So really, really cool grassroots level tournaments. The cool thing about those tournaments is you're able to use live scope. There's no live scope limitations as of right now for the Bass Nation. So if you're a guy that's in college, or a guy that wants to use technology, use live scope, doesn't want to break the bank, these nations are a great way to fish those. It's going to be a really awesome year fishing some of those. More of a grassroots level, like I said. And to be able to qualify for the Elite Series on a $400 entry fee is amazing. That's great. That's what the sports needs. And with all the complaining there is out there, this is something that's really awesome. So I'm going to do every avenue possible to get to the Elite. So I'm going to be fishing as many Bass Nations as possible, as well as Bassmaster Opens. I alluded to earlier, the Bass Opens will be a 50-50 split with forward sonar allowed and forward sonar not allowed. So the first 2 tournaments, the first tournament of the year, no scope, and the third tournament, no scope. So let's get into the schedule, kind of tell you what I think about it. And let's open up our trusty little booklet here that has all my bait ideas. All right, let's get into it. So first tournament of the year is going to be a really unique. I'm fishing a new trail, something that's new to me, but is a really reputable trail, and that is the ABTs. I'm going to be fishing the ABT 100s with my brother Carson. We're going to start the season off at Smith Lake, January 17th. That's a really, really cold time of year. It could be extremely cold, or we could have some unseasonable warm weather. It is Alabama, but it's northern Alabama. A lot of weird stuff can happen. Ice. I'm looking forward to that one. Scope is allowed, so I'm assuming that there's going to be a lot of pelagic fish being caught in that event. But there's a lot of really good shallow cranking stuff on that lake where big largemouth, big spots, they will definitely play. So that's going to be a unique tournament. We might bounce around shallow, deep. That's just kind of how me and my brother like to fish, is bouncing around places. So Smith Lake sets up for that, even in the freezing cold. That one's going to be a cool one. $1,000 entry fee for $35,000 with a Phoenix. And if you're looking for a Phoenix, get one from State Line Marine. Next off, we're going to go to the Bass. It's going to be a Bass Open, and we're going to Lake Toho, the Kissimmee Chain, January 24th through 31st. I think that includes my practice too. So that tournament's going to be really cool. Toho is actually where I fished my first ever Bassmaster Open. The place is really cool. I've been there a couple times since then. There's been some college tournaments. My brother's fishing college tournaments down there. That's going to be another cool time of year, in the fact that there's going to be probably some fish spawning, getting ready to spawn, probably done spawning. End of January, we're going right before a full moon. Could be a full-on sight fishing tournament, but at the same time, it is January and things can go haywire really quick. That place can get really, really cold. It's still like that central Florida area to where it still has cold fronts. Last time we were there, it actually got really, really cold, like below freezing, and the water temps were in the low 50s, I think even high 40s, which was crazy. But with that being said, there's going to be some big, big fish caught in that event. Florida's a weird deal because you really just need one big one each day, one or two big ones each day. It looks great on paper for these one-day events, but whenever it's a 3 or 4 day tournament, it really doesn't ever take more than 12 pounds a day to get checked for the most part. That one's going to be no live scope, so some of those canal bite, floating fish bite, and even offshore grass, you're not going to have live scope to aid you in finding and locating this fish. So it's going to be a little bit more tricky. The weights might hurt a little bit with no scope, but for all the lakes on the schedule, it's not a huge deal on the Kissimmee Chain to not have scope. So we're going to go there. The next lake on the schedule is going to be another Bass Open on Lake Eufaula, March 27th through April 3rd. So I absolutely love Lake Eufaula. I consider that my home lake, or one of my home lakes. When we went to Auburn Southern Union, spent so much time on that lake. I probably spent more hours and days idling around on that lake than any other lake in the country. Absolutely love it. Early April is a phenomenal time on that lake. Probably going to see some huge, huge bags. It could be a really fun one. I hope the home lake curse does not get me this time. We fished over there a few years ago, and it was my worst finish all year, and I'm looking for redemption. So Lake Eufaula, early April, a lot of stuff going to be playing, a lot of big ones shallow that time of year. Could be a full-on sight fishing tournament, maybe some shad spawn, but probably a little early. Next off, we're going to the Bass Nation at Lake Cherokee, April 10th through 12th. So originally I wasn't planning on fishing this event. Didn't think I was going to be able to make it, but without looking at my schedule, it looks like I'm going to be able to. So that's going to be a really cool event. We were there also the first year I fished the Opens, and that place was a ghost town for the first couple of days of practice. And then it got warm, and those fish slid to the bank. And there's a lot of smallmouth in that place, a lot of big largemouth. Going to be a really unique tournament, kind of middle of April. Going to be a lot of fish spawning, I would assume. And that one could be a really fun event. That place is real fickle, but we're probably going at the best time of year we could possibly go to Lake Cherokee. Next off, don't know if I'm going to be able to make this tournament. Probably not, but I'm going to do everything I can to fish it. It's going to be the Bass Nation Toledo Bend, April 22nd through 24th. that's a really cool fishery. It reminds me a lot about Lake Eufaula. A lot of offshore stuff available, but also so much shallow cover that's in the water. Those fish should be spawning still. A lot of fish offshore done spawning and pre-spawn that time of year, kind of the end of April. Could be a really fun event. A lot of different techniques and patterns could be going on that time of year. From there, if I do fish out, I'm gonna have to drive overnight to start practice at Lake Norman, April 30th through May 2nd. So that one's gonna be a unique one too. End of April, early May. Probably some sort of bait fish spawn starting. Probably some fish still on bed, but probably the majority post-spawn, wacky rig. That place is known for the dock bite. I've also heard that there's some blueback herring in that lake now. Don't know if it's enough fish in there to make a difference, enough fish to target in a tournament, but that's going to be a no-scope event, so it's going to be really unique. I've never made a cast for a herring fish on Lake Lanier without scope, and even with scope, they're pretty tricky, so it's going to be a very unique tournament. Next off, we're going to hop in the Toyota Series at Lake Eufaula, Alabama once again. About a month and a half later from when we were there for the Open. Going to be a lot of stuff changed since then. There's probably going to be some fish stuff, some fish in schools, some ledge stuff going on, some brush stuff going on. Also, probably some fish up shallow and brim bed. It's going to be a really fun time to fish out there, as long as they don't mess with the water. May is a time of year that they mess with water, and things can either be great or terrible. So that one's on Eufaula. Might as well fish it. From there, I'm going to go to Neely Henry for the ABT 100. And Neely Henry, that's a place that is historically very tough lake. It's a river system. Haven't been there a whole bunch. I probably haven't been there since high school, to be honest with you. But River Lake on the Coosa River, I'm expecting there to be a lot of post-spawn fish, a lot of fish out on ledges, schooled up a little bit, current break stuff, obviously some fish on bait, but really fun grinder style tournament for $35K in the state of Alabama. So a really cool one. Gonna be fishing with those with my brother, like I said earlier. Not bad at all. So next off, not sure if I'm gonna fish this or not, but the Bass Nation Lake Champlain, August 13th through 16th. That seems like I probably should get good at Champlain. There's a lot of tournaments that go out of there. And I have never fished a big tournament on Lake Champlain. I've been there a bunch of times with my buddy Rob, but I've never fished a tournament there. So I might try to come and fish that one. We're not fishing any MLF, BFL, or anything like that. So we're going to try to fish that. It'd be a real cool one. Then after that, we're going to go fish the Bass Open, the last Bass Open of the year, August 20th through 22nd at Lake Erie. Lake Erie is a really nostalgic fishery, but we're actually going out of Buffalo, New York. So that one's going to be a really cool one. Opposite end of the lake from where the majority of tournaments go out of. But I think this end of the lake, there's actually bigger ones. So I'm really looking forward to that. Not sure what the weights are going to look like. I know there's big largemouth out there too. So either could play. Probably going to play a smallie game if I don't know. That one, the way Erie sets up, you're going to have a blow day at least one of the days we're up there. I mean, if we don't, we're going to get so lucky. That could be a one-day shootout for sure. Just the way that place is set up that time of year, we're expected to get some big wins. So maybe largemouth will play at that tournament somewhat. And then, Lord willing, we'll qualify for the Bassmaster EQs, and those lakes are TBD. We'll wrap up the EQs, and the last tournament of the year will be an ABT 100 on Lake Jordan, known for big spotted bass. Going to be some fish in the grass still, probably some fish floating around, and probably some fish on current stuff. Going to be a really fun year, a lot of fishing. For me, I just felt like I needed to fish more tournaments, and by fishing more tournaments doesn't mean spending more money on stuff that's not going to achieve your goals. You know, I love to fish Toyota Series. I'm only going to fish one of those, but my end goal is the Elites. So rather than wasting money on the Toyotas, a full season of that, I decided to put all my eggs in the Bass Nation basket as well as a Bassmaster Open basket, and then also just fishing around the house, just to kind of stay dialed. Doing a lot of guiding this year, and this upcoming year going to be doing a bunch. So if you want to go on a fishing trip, Lake Lanier, catch some big giant spotted bass, hit me up in the comments. Check out my website. Check me out on Instagram, jmad_fishing. You can find me there. And guys, if you want to help me, help my sponsors, support them, Depths, I'm Optimum, Shimano, G Loomis, Buckeye Lures, Big Bite Baits, Cornerstone Drywall. Check all that stuff out. Shop at Tackle Warehouse. Guys, I appreciate you. Come back, like, and follow.